Hello and welcome to the show. Before we begin, the usual apologies. Today is a weekend recording, so you will be hearing my children in the background. Also, I'm still getting better with the whole chest nasal thing, so there might be some sniffling on the episode. Then, today's recording is going to be a two-part thing because I'm making comments on stuff that I've seen on LinkedIn. One was a post about fear. I'm going to give my comments on that. I've already given some comments on that, but I guess, there are different perspectives that we can always explore on these sorts of things. So, comments on that. And then there was a post on career progression. We don't normally talk about careers over here on the podcast, even though all the things we talk about, personal selling especially, these sorts of skills come in real handy when it comes to career progression. But since the post was about someone who had recently been elevated to the rank of SAN, SAN, that's the Senior Advocate of Nigeria, is one of the more prestigious awards that we have in this part of the world. And the whole idea behind the SAN award is the legal community gets together to say that this person is totally legit, this person is a good advocate, this person is a correct lawyer, this person knows what it is that they're doing. And so some lawyers have been able to leverage this award for, I guess you could call it career progression, but it's also a form of business advancement because when you attain the rank of SAN, that is Senior Advocate of Nigeria, again, you're going to be able to use that to parlay it into your business and marketing efforts. And so, the lady who came up with this post was talking about career progression. But of course, there are definitely stuff that we can talk about from a business perspective. So I'm going to be giving some comments about that. Now, before I begin, let's head straight to the geek list or to the nerd list. And so today on my playlist on Spotify, I have Scripture in Song. Now, the reason why I'm listening to that, or the reason why I got that on my playlist was because I have this Bluetooth thing. I'm sure you guys have already seen it because they're real popular. For some reason, it happens to be with people who drive Toyotas. I haven't seen a Benz user. I mean, like for my friends who drive different kinds of cars, I haven't seen those in a Mercedes-Benz. Maybe because Mercedes-Benzes already have Bluetooth sync on mobile phones and stuff like that anyway. Okay, I guess that's the reason. So I got one of these Bluetooth things so that we can listen to, my wifey and I can listen to good stuff when we're in traffic, because radio stations are cool, but the music doesn't always suit my fancy, and Nigerian music right now is kind of lazy. It's all Shayo, bottles, models, twerk on the what, and stuff like that. And it's nice stuff, but it's just lazy. There's a limit to how much of they call it Afrobeats. I don't agree with that name anyway. There's a limit to how much Afrobeats, Niger piano stuff that one can tolerate. So once in a while, that's good. But then listening to all that, if that's your soul palette, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I think that's a bit much. So I got this Bluetooth thing so we can listen to all kinds of stuff. And maybe even once in a while, listen to podcasts, because my wife listens to some cool podcasts, like Honest Bunch. And I said what I said, but those are just podcasts, so if you want to know what's going on with celebrities or Nigerian millennial culture, stuff like that. So anyway, that's why I got that list, because wifey likes hymns and things like that. So Scripture in Song, nice stuff you can listen to, especially going to church. So that's why that's on the list. If you're going to try that out, just bear in mind that Scripture in Song it's hymns, so it's not upbeats, it's not it's not that kind of music. Then on Netflix, I'm currently on Jack Reacher, Tom Cruise. The movie's okay. It's about a super detective basically, but I'm beginning to wonder, like Tom Cruise, bro, is it everything you need to act in? I mean, there's Mission Impossible and all that is still popping off, but there's some projects that you can take and your name is behind it, but then hire somebody else to do it. Now, you don't have to be in every single thing. That's my own take, Sha. So for those of you who know Tom Cruise, just tell him that, that's the message I'm sending in. So that's on the geek list, that's on the playlist. Then I've also loaded up House of Gar, that is GAA. Momsy watched it, and Momsy said I should watch it. It's from I think Bolanle Austin Peters, and Mumsy doesn't really watch some kind of films. So when Mumsy says check out this thing, and I checked it, it's like Niger film. Okay, no problem. I'll give it a go. So House of Guys loaded up on the playlist. So now that we are done with the geek list, let's get straight to business for the day. Two posts. So the first one is about fear. I am not going to read out the post. I'll just go straight into a summary of what the person said and what my comments are. And so the lady said that the fear of unknown is keeping you rooted to one spot. And that is absolutely true. For a whole host of you, the reason why you haven't made progress is because you're scared. You haven't applied to the new job because you're scared. You haven't started talking to people on your prospecting list because you're scared. You haven't attended the business expo because you're scared. If I drop 50K for attendance fee, am I going to make that 50K back? All sorts of things. Even on a personal note, you're a guy, you think the baby's cute, you haven't said anything to her because you're scared. What if she rejects me? So all that is keeping you in one spot. It's keeping you from the woman of your dreams, the guy of your dreams, the job of your dreams, or that business deal which might pop off or which may not pop off. So the lady's recommendation was basically do some research to conquer the fear. And that is absolutely true. Because fear is about protecting you. Fear is about keeping you from loss, and fear is about harm mitigation. So if these nasty things could happen to me, then of course you're going to be afraid. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to try out an experiment. I noticed a naked electric cable, and so I peed on it because I wanted to see what effect that would be. In my childish mind, I was thinking that if I peed on the cable, the exposed cable, the whole thing would catch fire. But then I found out that pee is also a good conductor of electricity, and so by me peeing on the cable, I ended up electrocuting myself in a very, very nasty way. But the thing is, I learned the lesson, and I swear to you guys, since then, I have never, ever, ever peed on another naked electric cable again. In fact, I've never peed on an electric cable since that point. So now I only pee in toilets and I only pee in bushes. So that's the role of fear. Fear is to stop you from getting hurt, physically, financially, emotionally, whatever. So fear actually is a very, very useful emotion to have. So all these people that are going around talking about get rid of fear, this, relinquish fear, and all that is just BS. It's just total BS. We need fear. It's not about getting rid of fear. It's about learning how to cope with it and using the instincts, to help us move forward. And learning and research and validation are the things that will now help us to go forward. So if you're afraid that if I drop 50K to go for this Abuja business fair, am I going to get my 50K back? Do some learning and some research first. How do business expos work? How can you guarantee that people will visit your booth? What are the best ways to get people to sign up on your contact list? How do you follow up with people after the call? How do you make convincing proposals or presentations? How do you effectively close the deal? How do you follow up, and how do you get more business? So it's by doing all those things that you can now see that is kind of 50-50. I might get the 50K back, I might not get the 50K back. But you feel more comfortable that, okay, entrance fee is 50K or entrance fee is 150K. But if I drop this money, at least this is a plan that I can follow through on to make sure that things go my way, small. So it's from the learning and from the research that you're going to be able to do that. And then it's the same thing on the personal note. You want to approach the girl, you don't know what's up, ask around, kind of figure out who she is. It might give you a sense about how to start an interesting conversation. It's also the same thing, the other way. If you're a girl and you're thinking about the guy, I know that in this part of the world, it's not somehow for you to make the first move, but at the very least, if you do some research and you know who he is, you'll be able to end up in interesting situations where he always is, and that might lead to opportunities for the conversation to pop off. But by the way, this is not a relationship show. So do not take any of my advice here when it comes to relationship things. So if I talk about business, especially sales, pay attention. I'm talking about relationships. Just take it with a grain of salt, because I'm no Casanova. Where was I? So learning, research. That is what is going to mitigate It's going to reduce the occurrence of loss, mitigate the amount of harm that is going to come to you. And then that's also why I talk about validation, especially people who are thinking of about starting a brand new business. And I talk about market validation. Go out, talk to people, try and sell 1 or 2 items first. Be sure that there's market demand for this sort of thing before you now throw your life savings into the whole thing. If you have 2M in life savings and you throw 2M into it and then the whole business crash, wahala for you. Serious wahala. If you're married, that is serious wahala between you and your wife or between you and your husband. Because your husband is going to be pissed that you took 2M, 4M, 5M and you flushed it down the toilet. And the other way around too. You have a lot to answer to for your wife, because school fees next term, this and that, and then you took 2M and just blew it behind one of your odd business ideas again, because plenty of quarrel. So validation is the key. Research. Research the product small, online, offline. Go talk to people. See if people are going to buy 1 or 2 items. If it looks like there's some demand, then you now know that you can throw small money behind it. So you actually take out, 5, 10K, buy a few items. If people buy, the thing moves. It didn't stay too long. You can now be increasing small. So that's the whole idea behind validation. So yes, the lady who wrote that post, absolutely correct. Fear, getting around it, that is how. Learning, research. She said learning and research. I'm the one who added the thing about validation. So that is what will help you get through it, because it's limiting the amount of loss that can occur. Then when it comes to this whole fear thing, I like to let people know, especially from a business perspective, the right expectation to have is there will be losses. It is inevitable. There is no business person that has not experienced a loss. So knowing that, you have a much more realistic expectation going in. That is not that I'm going to avoid loss. It's just that I'm going to make sure that the losses I suffer will not be catastrophic, and that I'll be able to learn good stuff from it and then parlay that into my next endeavor or trying to move this business forward. But just know it has not happened yet. There is no business owner that has not suffered a loss. That person does not exist. And if you happen to know that person who exists, maybe it's you or Momsy or Popsy, please let me know. I would like to interview the person for the podcast, and trust me, it's going to be a world exclusive. Everybody will want to hear from this business owner who has gone 5, 10, 15, 20, how many years long, and the person has not experienced one single loss. So it's not possible. So just know there will be losses. Let's just make sure they are not catastrophic. Let's make sure that we learn from them, and let's find out how we can mitigate those losses. Then, so that's the lady of career. Okay, no, before I get to career, one more thing. So for those of us who are on the business journey, okay, I've already spoken about that anyway. That's for those people on the business journey, there will be losses. So we're trying to chase the upside or just trying to mitigate losses. And so we have to come up with a plan for dealing with that. So now let's move on to the lady on career, because we've already done 13 minutes so far. So like I said, that post was about someone, a lawyer, who had been elevated to the rank of SAN, S-A-N, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. That is the pinnacle of success for those lawyers who choose to be advocates. Advocates are people who go to court and argue cases, basically. So I've explained already why that's a prestigious award, so there's no need for me to go into that in detail. Now, the lady attributed the success of this particular candidate who just got awarded, or rather who just got elevated to the rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria. She attributed it to a CARS model, CARS model. And by the way, those of you who keep coming up with these models, I salute you guys. Like, I carry bomb for you guys. You guys are really, really good at coming up with models that people can remember. So it's a CARS model. And the model that the lady came up with, C is for competence. Basically, that means just get good at what you do. So if you are a badass lawyer, then the chances of you becoming SAN, go up. So number 1, competence. Number 2, agility. That's our whole thing of being flexible and, stuff like that. Number 3, resilience. That basically means you have to be able to take a punch and keep moving. In fact, if you tie it back to the first one about fear, I mean, losses will happen. We just have to be able to be resilient. And then the final thing that lady spoke about was sponsorship, because this particular candidate happened to be a deputy managing partner at a very, very prestigious leading law firm in Nigeria. And so that was the sponsorship element. So CARS, the CARS model, competence, you have to be competent, agility, we got to be flexible, then resilience, we should be able to take a punch and keep on going, and then sponsorship, we need sponsors to get us to where it is that we're moving to. So this is just an overtly brief summary of the whole post. Now, are these things truly attributable to SAN's success? If you're a baby lawyer now, you graduate from the best university on the African continent, and that's Obafemi Awolowo University, in case you guys don't know what's up. So if you're a baby lawyer, just graduated from OAU, and you want to be SAN in the next, 15 years, is this truly what you have to look forward to? Competence, is this what you have to plan for? Competence, agility, resilience, and then sponsorship? I mean, really? Is that what is going to take you to the pinnacle of legal success? The answer is sure. Definitely. Capital yes. However, these things that people study sometimes when they're talking about progress and career progression and everything are not the main causes of success, but rather they are the artifacts. The artifacts are the observable things that we can see that go with the whole journey, but are not necessarily the cause. So, for everybody who is a SAN, you will see that there's competence, that they are badass. They know the law inside and out, and they know how to argue the law. You will also notice that there's agility, flexibility, creativity. Those things are necessary when it comes to reasoning the legal brief, arguing the brief, all these sorts of things. Definitely, there's going to be resilience, because you can't even qualify unless you've been 10 years post-call and you've met a couple of requirements, appeared in a certain number of cases at the higher courts of records, the High Court, the Court of Appeal, the Supreme Court, those sorts of things. And, it's not beans. It requires, resilience. And then, there will be sponsorship. For some people, yes, there will be sponsorship, because one of my classmates just recently made SAN, and he came out from the law firm of, what's this guy? Based in Lagos now. I can't remember his name anyway, but my classmate was a smart guy, so even when he was leaving the firm, he made sure that he was in contact with his boss, and in fact, till today, he still calls the guy my boss, even though he doesn't work for a boss anymore. So that whole thing, you're in Lagos, go and greet him like, hey, your guy, how now, how you doing, blah blah blah, hang out, that whole thing. So yes, I know someone who has used the sponsorship elements, so all these things are going to be there. But however, these are not the real causes of success. The real cause for SAN success, if you're a baby lawyer coming out from OAU, coming out from Unilag, coming out from Uniben, coming out from ABU, coming out from wherever, Uniport, you want to be SAN. The real reason for SAN success, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, is basically around sales and marketing. Full, final stop. That is the reason why some lawyers in Nigeria say, SAN, I will never be a SAN, because all those people they're just fine boys and fine girls, and they know how to sell and they know how to market. It doesn't mean that they're smart. There are some lawyers who say that look, SAN, I will never bother. They're just fine boys, fine girls. They know how to talk. They know how to hobnob. That's why they're SAN. So there's even a reverse SAN thing that is going on in the Nigerian market, where some people avoid the title. And yeah, there's some truth to that. It's primarily sales and marketing success. Because first off, you're starting off as a baby lawyer. You need to be very clear from the beginning who your ICP is. The goal is to have a certain number of cases in the High Court, in the Supreme Court, in the Court of Appeal, the upper courts. So from the beginning, you need to be very, very clear about the kind of clients that are going to get you there. It's not by doing charge and bill, cherry weather, and doing tenancy agreement and all. That's not the thing that's going to get you to SAN. So people who become SANs are people who are very, very clear from the beginning. Like, this is my ideal customer, and from day one, let me start chasing them. That's how people finish from OAU, Unilag, Gwagwalada, Abuja, wherever, Benue State University. And then that's how they make SAN in a decade. Well, and by the way, all these schools that I'm calling, they have produced senior advocates of Nigeria. So don't say that because you went to University of Akongba Okoko that you can't become a SAN. It doesn't mean. SANs have come from every single university in the country. I don't know of any university that has not produced a SAN. Well, so long as they have an accredited law faculty. So it is possible. Okay, maybe the newer universities, because those ones are young, because anybody that has to be a SAN must have been, I think, at least 10 years post-call. So all these new universities that opened up in the last, 5, maybe 10 years, I don't think they would have produced any SAN because their graduates have to be at least 10 years in the field to qualify. But your school is not going to be a limiting factor. So even if you don't go to the best university on the African continent, which is, I repeat again, Obafemi Awolowo University, for those of you who don't know what's up. So even if you don't go to Obafemi Awolowo University, even if you go to a second-rate school like Unilag, you can still become a senior advocate of Nigeria. And yes, I'm taking shots at you Unilag folk. It's my podcast. It's not like you can reply. Where was I? They're very good deciding who the ICP is from day one. And they have to come up with a plan. How am I going to attract the right client? Because it's not by chasing tenancy agreement that you're going to end up at High Court, Supreme Court, Court of Appeal. Then they also need to be able to figure out what are the wants and the needs of these kinds of clientele. And then people who can afford their services. Because it's not beans if you're going to pursue a matter from High Court all the way to Supreme Court. The litigation is going to last several years. And you're not going to ask somebody like me, for instance, to pay for litigation that is going to last 5 years. Because I'm just not going to do it. Except if the thing is really, really high stakes. I would just think about it and say, this thing will involve us going to court for 2 years. Is it worth the hassle? I'll pay a lawyer. You do this, you do that. You mobilize police. I beg, let me just fashi. So, you have to look for... folks who can afford. And then you also have to be good at figuring out the kind of clientele that have a sense of urgency around what they're trying to do. Because, like I said, if you approach somebody like me and I do the math in my head, lawyer's fees, how much for 2 years? Mobilize police, how much for 2 years? Once in a while, mobilize bailiff. Once in a while, settle this person, settle that person. Administrative things, credit, all that. I'll be like, I beg, it's not that deep. Let me just fashi. So you need someone who has a sense of urgency. So you can see that to get the SAN, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, people are sitting down, people are doing their homework, and then they're hitting you from day one. And they're being very clear about these sorts of things. Then, of course, to be SAN, you also need to be very, very good at needs analysis. Lots of us don't pay attention to that back when we're in university. But by the time we get to law school and there's this course on professional ethics, lots of people don't pay attention to professional ethics because, the course is easy to pass. After all, it's ethics. They're just talking grammar, blah, blah, blah. This is how you should be professional. But there's a part of the course where they're going to talk about client engagements. How do you conduct your customer meeting? These sorts of things. So if you're a baby lawyer right now, you're still in OAU, you're still in Unilag, you're able to graduate first class, congratulations. By the time you get to law school, actually, you should be paying attention to the parts of the curriculum that are business oriented. And one of those courses is professional ethics. Pay attention to professional ethics. If you have a lecturer that has been out in the field, all those stories that they're telling you, be paying attention. It's good nuggets there about how you find the right clients, how you conduct the meeting, how you draw up the proposal, how you bill them properly, how you make sure you collect your bill, because billing clients is one thing, collecting the money is another altogether. So pay attention to professional ethics, please. Baby lawyers, pay attention to professional ethics. Yes, you must pass your criminal procedure. You must also pass your civil procedure. What else? Was there a course on evidence? I can't remember because it's been a while since I passed through the system. But please pay attention to that legal ethics class. If the woman or the man who is teaching is telling you plenty of stories, open your ears. You're going to learn a lot about how you run the business side. So yes, the courses to pass to make sure you graduate will be civil procedure, criminal procedure, the course on evidence, and I can't remember what else. Besides, that was 20 years ago, so I don't know. The courses might have even changed. Then, let's see, what else? So those are the main things. Those are the cocoa. Sales and marketing, basically. Who is the ICP? Who are you chasing? Who are the people that will get you the High Court, Supreme Court, Court of Appeal? What are the wants and the needs of that client's base? What are the people that can afford? So I don't go wasting my time. Who are the people that have a sense of urgency and are ready for this grind? Because it will be a grind. Some courses can take 3 years. So I say courses. Some cases in court can take, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 years. There's some cases that have gone 20 years, still have not been resolved. So it's going to be a grind. And then, what's your bedside manner when you're talking to clients? How you be able to carry on the conversation? What else? Client relationship, all these sorts of things. Then you also have to be able to get repeat business and referrals, from the people. Because if they're a good client, you also want to work with other people in their network. So these are the things that get you to Senior Advocate of Nigeria. And these are also the things that are going to be responsible for career success in other kinds of fields. But for those of us who grew up lawyer, accountant, architect, blah, 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 these kinds of fields where you finish and you might work for a senior, but at the end of the day, the option always is there, and it's kind of expected that you will set up your own practice. That's the way forward. So, of course, from the CARS model, the first one, competence, we cannot get around competence, because it doesn't matter the sales trainer that you meet. They will tell you that subject matter expertise is the cornerstone and is the building block and the beginning of a successful sales career. Because if you're selling exercise bikes, exercise equipment, but inside your head, exercise is zero, you will be a terrible salesperson. If you're selling exercise bikes, you need to be subject matter expert. You need to know cardio exercise versus aerobic versus resistance versus dead weight versus machines. You need to know all these things inside out, so that when somebody comes to your shop, you'll be able to have that conversation. Like, oh, madam, thank you very much. Blah, blah, blah. What are your goals? You're trying to lose weight. Then what's the problem? Okay, you think your bum is too big, or is it your stomach or your Christian mother arm? Okay, to get rid of Christian mother arms, you actually need to do these kinds of exercises and these kinds and these kinds. And so because of that, even though you came here thinking that treadmill is the right thing for you, actually, you should buy kettlebell, free weight, and exercise bike. That's all be able to work for you, And then, of course, also try and sell her an upsell to let her know that you're available to come to the house to be coaching her, so that she achieves her goal of limiting her Christian mother arms. Or if he's a man, maybe he's a wealthy politician, but his pot belly is too big. He wants to look nice and trim, like Tinubu. You also have that conversation like, oh, okay, no problem. Belly, that is what you want to reduce. You're thinking that you need treadmill. But based on what you said, based on your age, based on your lifestyle, based on what you eat, I'm recommending that you do this, and you should buy this machine instead of that. That is what will make you an expert salesperson. You have subject matter expertise, and that is how you're going to be able to successfully move your equipment in your exercise shop. And for those of you who own exercise equipment, this is the real reason why your market is not moving. It's not because of the Nigerian economy. You think these people didn't go online and know beforehand that the treadmill actually costs 1.5? The person already knows that it costs 1.5 before they came into your shop. But because there's no subject matter expert there, you just put all the equipment there, you put a fine girl there, and you expect that somebody's going to come, look at the treadmill, and then just buy the treadmill and then leave. So even if you put a fine girl in the shop, make sure that it's a fine girl that has subject matter expertise, that can ask the questions to figure out who is this person, how old are they, what are their health conditions, what goal are they trying to achieve, is it strength, is it muscle mass, is it slim body, is it big bum, is it remove the stomach, is it remove Christian mother arms, whatever it is. Put somebody there who's a subject matter expertise, who has subject matter expertise, and then your equipment will start moving. Because right now, they come in, they look around, they see the fine girl, and they just think, let me think about it. And then they leave. So, excuse me. In fact, for some of you, you put your relatives in trouble. Because if the fine girl happens to be your niece or whatever, that's how long story might start. Politician comes in, sees her, they start talking. Young girl, let me have your phone number. The person came in to buy treadmill. Next thing, he's toasting your niece. So, things to consider when you want to staff your shop. Anyway, so summary of what I'm saying here in this episode today is, be careful who you follow on LinkedIn. People who come up with fancy business models and stuff like that, pretty good, really interesting. Let's pay attention to them. But people who are talking about business and who are ignoring the customer side of things, the marketing side of things, the sales side of things, that person is only telling you half the truth. So, then this person is only telling you the easy things to do. It's easy to just say competence, agility, resilience, and then sponsorship. It will keep you jazzed up and, you'll be motivated from day to day. But the hard stuff actually is really waking up in the morning. After you eat your eba for breakfast, and then you sit down and you start thinking, okay, yes, I finally graduated law school. I got my first class. They've awarded me the degree. So now what's the way forward? Do I want to be SAN? Okay, now that I want to be SAN, who are the kind of people that I should start chasing? Instead of just waking up and taking every single case that comes your way. So sit down, do the hard work. That is what is responsible for career progression and for business growth. Baby lawyers, if there are any of you listening to this podcast, take this advice. So competence, agility, resilience, and sponsorship, yes, really important. But the main thing, actually is the sales and the marketing side. Who is your ideal customer? How are you going to attract them? What do they want? What do they need? Who can afford your services? Who has a sense of urgency? Who's going to be able to pay you for the 3 or 4 years while you're pursuing this case? How are you going to figure out what it is that they want? How are you going to make an effective proposal? How are you going to convince people? How are you going to get them to introduce you to their network? Because if you're able to nab Wike is the current administrator for the FCT, Federal Capital Territory in Abuja. So excuse me. So if you're able to get Wike as a client, but then you're not able to get Wike to introduce you to his boys or to his godfather or to whoever, then you might have made some millions from knowing Wike. But the real benefit will be if Wike hooks you up with a couple of people. So that at least if you handle Wike's case this year and he pays you 7M, but then next year he introduces you to a couple of other people, each of those people paying you 7M, and let's say this year he paid you 7M, that one went to your pocket. Next year he introduces you to 4 or 5 people, and then those 5 people, each person on average also paying you 7M. Can you see the math? Can you see how it works out? So that's where all the juice is. Repeat business, referrals. So that is going to be the real reason how you're going to become senior advocate of Nigeria. It's hard work. Put your head down. Start doing the work. Let's see what else. Okay, and then fear. Do your research. So if you're afraid before you set out to do your law firm or to sell your exercise equipment or whatever, do your research. When you do your research, you try and validate your business idea. You're going to be able to mitigate the amount of losses that will occur. And remember, everybody suffers business losses. In fact, since we're talking about senior advocates now, go and talk to any senior advocate you know. If you're a baby lawyer, they will all tell you the losses that they've suffered. They will all tell you of the time when they thought this was a correct client and they took the case, and then the client maybe dropped, plenty money in the beginning, and then they kept on financing the whole thing, and then eventually, the client ghosted them or whatever, or they lost the case or something. Everybody has question mark. Accountants have it, lawyers have it, people who sell bread have it, people who sell groundnut have it, people who sell, Dangote, people who have refineries have it. Everybody suffers a loss. So the goal is not to avoid the loss and stay rooted in your fear. It's about mitigating the losses. Make sure that the losses don't cripple you. So you do that, you're going to be cool. So thanks for your time and attention. I'll get you guys at the next episode. Then for those of you who want to reach out, connect with me on WhatsApp. The number is 080-6466-2140, and the country code is +234 for those of you who are not Nigerian. Then connect with me, Tabashima Ayede. I'm the host of the show. If you're worried about the spelling of my name, just look at the link where you're listening to this episode. Highlight it, copy it, paste it in LinkedIn. You see my handsome face, and then send the connection request, and I'll definitely respond in 24 to 48 hours. So thank you very much for your time and your attention. I'll catch you guys at the next episode.